Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is ThandiwekaYah and I've got a beautiful prophetic word to share with you today. Friends, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for all your support on this channel, for everyone who watches and everyone who prays for me. It means so much to me. It means so much when I read comments that are just so uplifting and they just remind me why God brought me onto this platform. I was someone that really struggled with with just putting myself out there, very private person, but God has called me out and He's brought me here, and I'm just so grateful. I just want you to know that. So before I get into the word, remember that not every prophetic word is meant for you. Take it to the Lord, ask Him if it's for you, and if you believe it's for you, just ask Him for confirmation. And I also pray that for some of you this word is confirmation of something that the Lord has already spoken to you about. So friends, I have to learn to slow down. In Daniel chapter 2, there's a scenario where the King Nebuchadnezzar, has a dream and he can't remember the dream, but he knows that the dream is important. There's an urgency about it. He really wants to understand what the dream was and what it meant. So then he calls on all the wise men of the land of Babylon, and he says, I need to know what the dream was and I need to know the interpretation. And they say to him, well, tell us the dream and we'll tell you the interpretation. And he says, no, heads will roll, I will kill you, I will cut you up into pieces if you do not tell me what I dreamed and what it means. And they're like, oh, that's a very difficult request, King, because we can't tell you what the dream means unless you tell us what the dream was. And he said, you guys are bordering on being frauds. Guys, I'm paraphrasing, but the king was just adamant. He stuck to his decree. You will die if you don't tell me what the dream is, what the dream was and what its interpretation is. So these wise men obviously couldn't say anything because they were not operating by the Spirit of God. So he then started to, he sent out the decree, all these wise men in this entire land must die. And so they started killing all these people. And word got to Daniel, and Daniel said, what on earth is so pressing that the king would, start killing everyone or killing all these wise men? And one of the king's people said to him, listen, guy, there's a situation here. The king had a dream, so he needs to know the interpretation. So I think, if I remember correctly, Daniel went to see the king, and the king explained to Daniel the situation. So Daniel said, okay, listen, my guy, give me some time. I will come and tell you what your dream was and what the interpretation is. So Daniel went and he prayed, and in a vision, God gave him the dream and gave him the interpretation in a vision of the night, it says. So, the version of the Bible I read said a vision of the night. So that could be a dream, that could be a literal vision. So God gave Daniel all the information that he needed. So Daniel went back to the king and told him, this was your dream and this was the interpretation. The king was happy, everything was great, and Daniel was promoted. So friends, the word that I have for you today is based on a very similar scenario in your life. How cool is that? So what God was showing me in this dream, I had this dream on the 26th of January. And in this dream, God was showing me how it's time for your calling, your ministry, that special thing that the Lord has given you to be seen. It's time for it to be brought to light, to be in the spotlight. It's your time to be in the spotlight. God showed me how He is directing you and leading you into a space where you're going to have to showcase who you are, showcase what you're called to do. And He's saying that there are people who have been doing what you are called to do. They have established themselves, they have a following, but they are struggling now. All of a sudden things aren't going so well for them. They are finding themselves not getting the reaction that they used to. They're finding things difficult to do now, whereas it was easy. They had made a name for themselves. And God is saying, because He's making the space for you, it's going to be easy for you. While they're struggling, it's going to be a breeze for you. You're going to go through this with absolute ease because He's paving the way for you. God says that He wants you to be confident in who you are and who He's called you to be. He says, do you, the you that He has made you to be. He's like, it was such a beautiful picture the Lord gave me, just of how He wants you to just be oblivious of the struggle around you by other people who are established in this craft, in this calling, in this ministry, and you just go in there, do your thing, and for you it's like a walk in the park, and it's almost like you won't understand why are people struggling so much. I'm looking at all the beautiful butterflies outside, guys. There's like so many. Sorry, I got distracted. They're so pretty, and we had 2 in the house last night. They were just so beautiful. Okay, so back to the word. So God is saying, for you it's a breeze, it's like a no-brainer, and he's the one that's making this possible for you. And He's saying that He's gonna put you in front of people. He's gonna place you in front of people who have a certain authority, who can determine the path of your calling, who can open doors for you, who can make decisions. Yes, decision makers. He's putting you in front of decision makers who can open a door for you that is huge opportunities there. And God is saying, go in with confidence. Do what you do best, and enjoy the process. You may see others struggling, but He says that shouldn't even move you. You shouldn't even be perturbed by that, but just go for what He's calling you into and what He's opening up for you. And He's going to put it on these people's hearts, these people who are in a position of authority, who can make the decisions, who are watching you, who can open these doors for you. He's going to put it on their hearts to make the way easy for you. What an exciting time this is, my friends. God also showed me how you don't have to hide anymore. I remember in this dream, we got into a car, and this car was hidden in the bushes, and we drove it out, and God was showing me how you don't have to hide anymore. You don't have to, or He's actually taking you out of hiding, and you don't have to hide what you are called to do anymore. For some of you, God had in the previous season, in these last few months, in this last few years, He had called you to keep silent about certain things, and I encourage you to take this to the Lord in prayer and ask Him, what are the things that you are free to speak of? What are the things that God is allowing you to showcase? Because God is saying, now that time of secrecy, that time of hiding has come to an end, and you are to come out and showcase your talent, showcase who you are, walk in this calling boldly, without worry about who's watching, because He's your shield, He is your protector, He is your stronghold, He is the one that makes the path clear for you. So yes, friends, it's a time now to be out in the open, in the things that God is calling you to, which is really exciting. Even though there's so much going on in the world, so many things that seem like, there could be so much opposition, even though we have the devil to deal with, God is saying, don't worry about all of that. He has a hedge of protection over you. He will take care of you. It's time for you to shine. It's time for you to come out of hiding. It's time for you to be seen and to be known. And friends, I encourage you to use wisdom and discernment in this, because some of you, God has called you to keep things to yourself, and it may not be everything. It may be certain aspects that you need to keep to yourself, but there are some things that God is saying, I want this out in the open. I want people to see you. I want people who are in decision-making roles to see you, and to be attracted to you. And the only way that can happen is for you to come out with your gifting, with your calling, with whatever it is that God is leading you to bring to the open, to bring to the surface, for it to be seen and acknowledged by the right people. Psalm, I think it's Psalm 18 verse 1 to 2. Yes, I'm reading from the New King James Version. It says, I will love you, Lord. Sorry guys. I will love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my strength, in whom I will trust, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. God says He wants you to meditate on the scripture, my friends. It's Psalms 18 verse 1 to 2. He says meditate on it, because this is true of you in this season. It's always been true of you, but He's saying in this season, this is a major part of your walk, because there are many who will obviously not be happy about seeing you come out in certain things that they thought you were never going to do. The devil's certainly not happy, but God is saying that you need to declare this over your life. You need to receive this and believe this. So I'll read it again to you, my friend, and I'm praying this over you as I read it. And it says, I will love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. Receive that now, my friends. My God, my strength, in whom I will trust. My shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. This is the truth of who God is to you. And He says, declare these words over your life and walk into what He has for you. God also wanted me to read Daniel. Why do I always say Daniel? Daniel chapter 2 verse 48. It says, then the king promoted Daniel and gave him many great gifts. And he made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief administrator over all the wise men of Babylon. Thank goodness there were some wise men left, and they were not all killed. But God was saying how He is promoting a lot of you, and promotion can look, it looks different in different spaces, in different circles. It's not always about being in a working environment. He's promoting you from being hidden away, and He's bringing you into the light where people can see you, where people can acknowledge your gift, where many will marvel and say, what happened? How did this happen? And they will give glory to the Lord, because they will see and they will recognize and they will perceive that this is only by the hand of the living God, that only Jesus made this happen. They will see that, they will acknowledge that, and many will turn to the faith. This will be a testimony. This will be you testifying by coming out of hiding, by bringing this gift and this talent out. God is showing how many will turn to Him because of it. And unfortunately, there'll be some whose hearts will be hardened even further, who will become even more jealous. But God says, don't worry about those. There are some of you who have been so worried about witchcraft and people doing stuff to you. So you've been keeping your things very close to your heart, and that's been fine for a season. But God is saying, come to Him in prayer. Ask Him what you need to now bring to the open, what needs to be seen, what needs to be acknowledged, so that God may get the glory. And He's saying He will protect you, that you should trust Him. He is your fortress. He is your deliverer. He is your stronghold. He is your He's your shield. He will take care of you, my friends. You've got to trust Him. Friends, I pray that this has been a wonderful blessing word for you. It blessed me so much. And yes, I pray that you walk into everything that the Lord has for you now. So for those of you who are new to my channel, I do have an email address where you can send prayer requests. So I will pray for you. I read every single email that comes in. I do not have the capacity to respond to every single email. I have so many emails coming in every day, and sometimes I like to think, in a perfect world, to deal with the emails that come in today, to deal with them all, but it doesn't always work like that. Being a mother to 3 boys and running with so many different projects, which I will be sharing with you guys soon. I'm excited to share them with you, and helping my sister plan for her wedding, which is coming up in a few months, and spending time with the Lord. Like, for me, in an ideal world, I would like to spend 3 hours with the Lord every day. I really try to push for that every day. It's different times of the day, so I'll spend an hour here and an hour and a half there, and maybe another hour at a different time of the day. So I do try and slot that in, because I really, for the work that I'm doing here on YouTube, it's been such a key thing for me to be able to hear the voice of the Lord very clearly, to not just lean on my own understanding and just speak what I think God is saying. In this quiet time with Him, I've really learned to know and to discern when it's me speaking and coming up with my own things, and when it's Him. and I can describe it like when it's me trying to interpret a dream, I'm really drawing from knowledge and skills and from all the knowledge that I learned about Christian dream interpretation. And I find that it's a very staccato type of flow, if I can put it that way. But the moment God starts to speak, and very often I will start to play a dream, because I record them, I do voice recordings, and immediately I know this is not the dream that God wants me to interpret. I just know, it's like He just says, no, not this one. And as I move on and keep listening to each voice note, and eventually we land on one where I can feel that, okay, God is saying this is the one, and then I just kind of wait for Him as I listen to it, and then it's like a flow just comes into me of thoughts, like the sentences just start to form. It's like I'm like, wait, and so sometimes like, wait, Lord, I just need to write this down. So it just flows beautifully into my mind. Whereas if I'm trying to do it out of my own understanding, it's very staccato. It's like, by the way, this means that, and then I'm just like, no. Then I stop and I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm going to leave this and I'm going to let you speak. And then that's when He will start to speak. So that's how it happens for me, my friends. So I need a lot of time with the Lord. So things like emails, really, to respond to each one becomes very difficult. So I do pray over each one. I read every single one. I love reading your emails, and I pray over each one. And where God leads me, I will respond to the ones that God says I should respond to. If He gives me a prophetic word, I will give that word out. Okay, friends, so thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your love. Thank you for all the positivity here. It's such a wonderful community, and I'm so blessed. And remember that you have a wonderful, loving Father who is so good, and you are so deeply special to Him.
There's no shadow